Are you curious how to break society's hold on you, how to be free and to become yourself? Well, I got some ideas for you. Hi, I'm Rick Higgins. Welcome to Mastering the Second Half, and I have an admission to make. I have succumbed to society's expectations of me. It's something I struggle with a lot. And even though I do a lot of things that have a shock value, if you will, it doesn't really have the long-lasting effect that some other things possibly could. And I want to talk to you today about how we can just be ourselves, regardless of what society thinks of us. So I want to give a couple of personal examples here about what I'm talking about, and then we're going to dive into all of the examples of how we can fix it. Now, the first thing was earrings on men. Everyone seems to have a decided view on that. I actually used to have them, still have the holes. I wore 2 hoops, but I took them out because I didn't feel like a 59-3/4-year-old man should be wearing earrings. It didn't feel like society was looking at me correctly. And so I took them out. I don't wear them anymore, even though I think they look really good on men. And the other thing is, you probably noticed on all of my videos, I have a lot of tattoos. I used to have just those that could be hidden by a shirt. And I decided one day that, well, I like tattoos. There's like 30 of them all combined on me somewhere, and they all have a story. And by getting these sleeves, I can't hide them. I cannot, short of having a long sleeve shirt, I cannot deny society to have an opinion on what I have. And even then, I actually got the back of one hand tattooed just because the only way I can hide that is by gloves. Now, I don't want to hide them, but I wanted to force myself to have to accept something that I wanted, something that I am. And it's really funny that this was years ago that I did that. Now, I don't even remember that I have them sometimes. I'll get compliments or comments on them, and I'll kind of go, oh yeah, I have tattoos. It worked. It actually has had the effect by forcing myself to jump into the deep end of denying society's expectations of what a 50-some-year-old man should be. I now can display exactly who I am. So how can you break free? Well, if you go type into Google, they're going to give you a lot of really pithy and not very helpful responses. Things like, don't aim to please others. Oh, and be confident with who you are. There was also a bunch of things like, don't be yourself, which actually confused me because why wouldn't I be myself? Who else would I be? Google was not helpful. But what I think they were trying to say and didn't say is, don't be yourself. Be who you want to be. Be the person that you are inside. Now, for a lot of us in our 50s and 60s, we have decades of learning that we may have to unlearn. We may have a lot of things that are holding us back, but we need to adopt a growth mindset. We have to acknowledge that this isn't going to be like a light switch, happens overnight. But there is a vision of who we are and who we want to be, and we can grow to become that person. Now, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person now or that you are not the person that you want to be now. It's actually quite the opposite. Who you are is wonderful, great, unless you're a serial killer, and then well, at least be the best serial killer you can be. But it is a growth, it is a journey, it is a path. So acknowledge the fact that you are who you are now, and that you got to have this vision and you can grow into that. But it's you growing. You are not doing it for anybody else but you. You also need to be inspired by other people. Now, I'm not saying you need to emulate them. Like, I don't get to look at a picture of Morgan Freeman with his earrings and go, I want to be like Morgan, because honestly, I can't. But I can be inspired by people who dare to step outside of their bounds a little bit. People who dress and act and do what they want because that's who they are. That you can emulate. And I think that's a wonderful thing, personally. There are a lot of very brave people, at least on the outside, who are coming out, who are saying, this is me. Look at them, emulate them, learn from them. Now, why should we do this in the first place? Well, if we are not being ourselves, we're basically wearing a mask. We are putting a mask on and we are being what society wants us. We're being what our parents, our friends, our family, what everybody thinks we should be. And that's tiring. It's exhausting. It is a lot of work to be somebody else. And that just kind of leads to burnout. It leads to resentment. It kind of just leads to not even knowing who you are, because everything that you wear, everything you display to the world is not for you, it's for other people. And trust me when I say that that gets old really, really fast. And it is not a path to self-fulfillment or happiness. So with that, I have 3 questions for you. If I were to ask you to describe yourself, could you tell me your strengths and your weaknesses with confidence? In other words, do you really know who you are and who you want to be? Second question, when you are around other people, do you ever feel strained and uncomfortable and maybe find it hard to relax? And has anyone ever told you that they thought you were somebody else until they got to know you better, when they realized that you actually were not the person they first assumed you were? Those are some very enlightening answers once you start answering them honestly. It kind of tells you who you are when you're around other people, how you feel when you're around other people. So what can you do? Well, for starters, don't get frustrated when this process takes a little while, because you've worn that mask for a long time. It's going to take more time to learn to take it off and to let your natural self come through. It has taken decades if you're my age, and you've probably hidden yourself a long, long time. So give yourself the freedom to grow and give yourself the time to grow. Also, look around when you find yourself putting on that mask, when you find yourself acting a certain way or not acting a certain way or not doing a certain thing because of society. Why? What is it? Is it a specific person? Is it a certain belief? Is it a family? Looking deeply as to what it is that's causing you to not let your inner self shine through. Because you got to know what it is in order to analyze it and figure out why it has a hold on you. So awareness is everything. Giving yourself time to become who you are, understanding the answers to those questions that you asked yourself, why you do things in certain situations, what the triggers are that put you in a situation where you don't feel like you can naturally be yourself. For me, I have tattoos. Can't hide them, don't want to hide them. I used to be very uncomfortable when people said, hey, nice tattoos. I just kind of want to crawl and hide. Now when people want to ask me about them or compliment them or even negatively comment on them, because occasionally you get the eye roll, it doesn't matter. They are me. These are a part of me. They tell a story that I want to tell. I don't care if somebody else has tattoos or not, or what they think of these, any more than I care about what they think of the shape of my nose, because this is a choice that I have made. This is who I am. I am a man with 2 full sleeves of tattoos and a few in other places. I should probably take my advice and go back to putting my earrings back in. I wear my hair a certain style. I play with my beard a lot. We all have things that we want to be. We all have things we want to become. And we all have that constant battle of trying to balance that with what we think others might think of us. So I'm gonna go ask myself those 3 questions and sit around and try to ponder why it is that I can do one, but not the other. So be safe, be happy, and we'll talk to you real soon.